The news begins with security update in Nigeria. The Inspector General of Police, Olukayode Egbetokun, has unveiled alarming statistics on terror, kidnapping and homicide cases recorded in the past 8 weeks in the country. Speaking to journalists at Nigeria Police Force headquarters in Abuja, the IG Egbetokun revealed that a total of 141 terror incidents, 214 kidnappings and 537 homicides were reported during this period. Egbetokun highlighted the police efforts in apprehending suspects, with 3,685 individuals arrested for their involvement in various crimes, while 401 kidnapped victims were successfully rescued. Breaking down the numbers, the IG stated that within the past 8 weeks, there were also 126 cases of armed robbery and 39 cases of unlawful possession of firearms. The IG emphasized the commitment of the Nigeria Police Force to excellence, pledging to adopt proactive, technology-driven and intelligence-led strategies in combating internal security threats. Troops of the Nigerian military has neutralized 2,351 terrorists, 2,308 persons arrested, and 1,241 kidnapped hostages rescued. The Director, Defense Media Operations, Major General Adedugba, who made the disclosure at the bi-weekly first quarter press briefing in Abuja, explained that troops also recovered 2,847 weapons, 58,492 ammunition, and denied the oil theft of an estimated sum of over 20 billion naira. While expressing its readiness and focus on what to do with these terrorists and their cohorts, the MO noted that the armed forces is fighting a vicious enemy in the ongoing operations across the country. It says its aim is to kill these terrorists and the infrastructure that supports them, as it has been collecting intelligence, hunting them and striking them where they may be hiding and hibernating.
Of 2024 has resulted in 2,351 terrorists neutralized, 2,308 persons arrested, and 1,241 kidnapped hostages rescued in the first quarter. Furthermore, troops recovered in this first quarter 2,847 weapons and over 58,000 assorted ammunition. And we denied the oil theft of over 20 billion naira in this first quarter of 2024. The breakdown is as follows. We recovered 1,497 AK-47 rifles. We recovered over 33,000 rounds of 7.62mm special ammunition and over 12,000 rounds of 7.62 NATO ammunition, as well as 948 assorted arms and over 5,000 assorted ammunition. Other achievements within this first quarter includes the recovery of over 21,000 liters of stolen crude oil, over 2.7 million liters of illegally refined AGO, otherwise known as diesel, over 53,000 liters of DPK, otherwise known as kerosene, and over 52,000 liters of PMS, otherwise known as petrol.
Earlier, we were joined on the news by a security expert, Dr. Awal Abdullahi.
Credible and timely intelligence, use of the civil-military relationship, and getting credible and timely intelligence, synergy between security agencies, between the tri-service itself, and synergy between security agencies, as well as the strategy put together by the Defense Headquarters under the able leadership of the professional but very administrative Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Gwabin Musa, whom have come with a new strategy, whom have adopted a new approach, who have come with new skills on how to tackle insecurity generally, kidnapping, cattle rustling, banditry, Boko Haram, and general insecurity across the Federation. These are things that has been adopted, like I said, new strategy, new technique, new approach that is coming up under the able leadership of this officer gentleman, the Chief of Defense General C.G. Musa. He had this way of reaching out. He has this way of extracting information. He has this way of getting it when it is supposed to be and then walking the talk. As he get the information, he walk the talk. And this is why you are having this great achievement within the first quarter. And believe me, like the director of Defense Media Operation has said, they are expecting to achieve more. And I believe if the tempo continues the way it is, with the strategy has been adopted, with the civil-military relation, with interagency relation, with working towards getting information, not waiting for the information, but working towards getting.
The Nigerian army has accused the media of biased reporting activities of its personnel. This is coming at a time the nation is still mourning the 17 soldiers that were ambushed and murdered at Okwama community in Ohele South local government area of Delta State, South Nigeria. Our correspondent Austin Hazo has details.
It's the Nigerian Army Civil Military Cooperation Media Chart first quarter 2024, aimed at enhancing national security, holding in Asaba, Delta State capital. Heads of media establishments, practitioners, paramilitary delegates, special guests of honors, including top military brass, converged on this hall to deliberate and examine the theme of the event, imperatives of military media partnership for the attainment of national security.
Through our collaboration with the media, the Nigerian Army ensures that accurate and balanced information reach the public, dispelling misinformation and rumors that can sow public distrust.
We must understand that either as military officer, as military men, or as media men, we're all working for the same goal, public good, common good of our own nation. So what you should ask yourself as a journalist when you do a report is that what will be the impact of that report on all society, the community, and the entire society.
In his keynote address, Chief of Army Staff, represented by the GOC, 6th Division, Lance Component and Commander, JTF South Operation Delta Save, urged the media to refrain from inevitably amplifying the activities of terrorists, bandits, militants, among others, who he described as enemies of the nation. He harped on robust synergy with the media towards nation building.
In this regard, the unprovoked killing of some of our troops carrying out their constitutional assignments in Okoma community in Delta State comes to mind. The dastardly act was executed in the most barbaric and cruel manner, which is unacceptable and condemnable. More worrisome was the orchestrated use of disinformation to misguide the public about the true accounts of the incident, while clasping aspersions on the professional conduct of the personnel deployed to the area.
The State Commissioner of Information commended the Nigerian military for the engagement and urged for its sustainability.
And this is why I again extol the Nigerian Army for considering it worth the while to partner with the media, especially given the crucial and unique functions of the media in the role of an information activist for an informed public and responsible organizations.
The guest speakers expanded conversation on the enhancing national security through military media engagements and promoting military media trust for improved public support towards addressing Nigeria's security challenges. The chat featured spanning discussion as a minute silence was observed for the 17 soldiers killed in Okwama community and others that lost their lives in the course of national assignments. In Asaba for News Central, I'm Austin Azu.
The Nigerian Senate has assured citizens of the country that they would not be left to fend for themselves amidst the uproar caused by the over 300% hike in electricity tariff for customers classified as Band A. The chairman of the Senate Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Senator Yemi Adaramodu, gave the reassurance while speaking to journalists, where he emphasized that upon resumption from recess, the Senate will thoroughly assess the situation and take decisive actions in the best interest of the nation and its citizens. Senator Adaramodu stressed that the Senate, being a responsible and responsive institution, would not stand idly by in the face of policies directly affecting the economy, security, and welfare of Nigerians. This assurance comes in the wake of the federal government's approval of a staggering 340% increase in electricity tariff for Band A customers, a decision that has drawn widespread criticism and concern. And joining me on the news to talk about this is the public affairs commentator, Chris Akwarando. Good morning, Chris. Glad to have you join me.
Good morning.
What are your thoughts on the increased electricity tariff for Band A category?
Well, first of all, we must understand that increase in tariffs is not bad on its own. But we have issues in our own environment. You are taking subsidy of electricity. How many people do you actually want to have electricity in Nigeria? What is the expanse of people who enjoy electricity in our country? Now, since the 50s, there has been gradual increase in the number of what you call teledensity in Nigeria, okay, up to now. But then look at it this way. You took out subsidy on petroleum products, okay? And the people are still grappling with it. There is high inflation. Now the currency is still moving up and down. And then you are taking out tariff on electricity. Now I want you to also look at this second point. Second point is, you have not started producing petroleum products in Nigeria, but then the price is high. Now you are taking out tariff on electricity and you have not done any improvement on the infrastructure. So what are you doing? Are you telling us that increase in tariff amounts to better performance, increase in investment? That's not economics. So I don't know how Nigerians are going to take this. Of course, the tariffs are engraved. Okay, there are certain people whose tariffs have not really been increased that much. And then, of course, a certain level, the tariffs are high. But what is our level of industrialization in Nigeria? What is the level of consumption of electricity by corporate organizations, industries, manufacturing concerns? These are the areas we should look at.
In the light of...
If the privatization of electricity generation and distribution is now going to be a curse on the people, why do that? Now let's look at those who operated the discourse. Do they have the necessary qualification, the necessary expertise? They are still using the old NEPA infrastructure.
Just to quickly chip in there, Mr. Akwarando, quickly chip in there, Mr. Akwarando, in the light of all you have said, do you think this present government is doing too much of power lifting all at the same time? You talked about inflation, jumping from 29 to 31%. Queues are resurfacing at the filling station. There is also the increase in the price of gas. So do you feel this government is doing too much all at the same time?
Yes, I think the government is taking itself for granted, not Nigeria. The government is taking too much at the same time, and that's what destroys particular government. Take one step at a time. Sort out the PMS situation by having refineries work And then when you have done with that, you can then move to electricity. As it is now, what are you generating? What are the discos conveying to the people? What is the level of infrastructure in electricity generation and distribution? That's what we're talking about. So why do you have to increase tariff? Government has been giving these discos money. I actually don't want to start quoting figures because my look as if one is trying to cause disaffection in the society. If government has been, since the privatization, been giving the discos money to sustain them, why do we have the discos? Why don't you disband the discos? Why do you have them? Why must we sustain them? Why must they also browbeat government into accepting increase in tariff from the TCN, as a way of solving the problem of power in Nigeria? That is not correct. Secondly, why do we have one national grid? You generate everything, you put into the grid. You can't store electricity, you know that. So what are we doing? Are we really thinking with our heads or with our shoes? Now that's the problem. So I don't know how far this government can go with this. I know there will be a lot of demonstrations.
Now, let's take a moment to look at the customer classification for electricity supply in Nigeria. The Band A is for those who get 20 hours out of 24 hours. There is the Band B, those who get 16 hours of electricity out of 24 hours. And then we have the Band C, 12 hours. We have the Band E, 8 hours. Band D, 8 hours. And then the Band E, 4 hours. Now, there are fears that this will most likely trickle down to categories such as Band B, C, D, and E. What impact will these have on the average Nigerian?
I tell you, if gas was cheap, then you wouldn't worry too much, right? If solar energy was cheap, then you wouldn't worry so much, okay? Now, we are going to cut down more trees when we want to plant trees, okay? Because people are going to resort to using trees, right? That's wood. Now, kerosene is nowhere to be found, much less being cheap. So how do people cook? That's a problem. Okay, so you see, you need to solve problems from the ground and not from the top. So the repercussions will be so much that the people who are suffering from hyperinflation will now actually get to a point where their belts can't tighten anymore. Food prices are still high. How are they going to get food to eat? So they will resort to use of lantern. Houses will start burning every day now. Just watch out. Houses will start burning every day. Shops will start burning every day. So what is the government doing? Are they thinking at all? These problems can't be tackled at the same time. You need to phase out the problems you're solving. I can understand removal of subsidy on petrol. That's understandable. Now, if you can improve local refining of these products, okay, the people can begin to gradually have less pain, okay? Now, if the cost of gas will go down, but it's going up, so how would the people cook?
Just to quickly, chip in there, Mr. Akwarandu. Apologies for butting in there, Mr. Akwarandu. I mean, shouldn't there have been a notice for such increase of 340%? What's the role of the Consumer Protection Council in all of this?
Well, that's where what he did. But then the new DG of Consumer Protection, this is what he should take up, because the consumers are suffering. And this is the essence of what we're doing. What we're doing is to make sure that the citizens participate in the development of their country. The citizens have to be alive to participate. The citizens have to be educated. The citizens have to be well. Now, in all these, we are not succeeding. So where do you place these citizens? You are emasculating them. And very soon they will say no. And I can assure you of that.
Well, thank you so much for your insight on the news. Chris Akorando, a public affairs commentator. Thank you once again.
It's a pleasure.
A member of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, Chinedu Uzodike, is reported to have said that the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, which has returned as a sole importer of the product, was rationing supply to depots. NNPC is currently operating as a sole importer of petrol into the country, with marketers across the country relying on the government-owned oil company for supplies. It reported that it has been very difficult to lift products from NNPC in the past 2 days, and that has been a result in the skeletal scarcity, and some of the portals owned by NNPC have shut down and are no longer issuing authority to lift to marketers. And to further talk about this, I'm joined live on the news by Olukayode, a developmental economist and also energy expert. Good morning, glad to have you join me.
Yeah, good morning, nice to be here.
Now, this year alone, there's been multiple rounds of fuel scarcity. What factors do you think are responsible for this?
Well, there are a number of reasons. Of course, there were issues around pricing by the petroleum transporters at some point. I think that was part of what caused one of the February scarcity. There are also issues around supply. You mentioned the fact that NNPC had become the sole importer again. And the reason is clear. The reason is because of the instability of the volatility of the currency. If you're going to do an importation and you're not so sure what the rate will be, how do you deal with that? Only government can handle the nature of volatility we have seen in the foreign exchange market in the past few months. So because of that, all the other people that were meant to be to contribute to importation and improve the supply, all the independent people that should have been able to import, nobody is able to import, only the government. So that sometimes will be part of the problem in the supply and distribution of the product, as we have seen.
Well, but one would assume that removal of the fuel subsidy would sort of balance the equation. I know you touched, on foreign exchange, but beyond that, what exactly are we not getting right?
The removal of the subsidy, you also must ask yourself if indeed we have not gone back to the subsidy regime in the course of the season when the naira depreciated very rapidly. Here is it. If I'm importing a product, I use a letter of credit, and as at the time I'm entering the market, dollar was 1,005. By the time my product is here and I need to pay on the obligations that I've committed to, dollar has become 1,800. I'm talking about what happened in the past few months. I won't even bother to touch it. It has nothing to do with subsidy, but volatility in the foreign exchange market. Even if the product is there, the reality with the foreign exchange is that I may enter into massive losses if I dare to go into that market and deal with it. So we must be able to handle matters around foreign exchange rate stability, exchange rate stability, for us to get full benefit of issues around what the subsidy removal. Without fixing that, subsidy removal in itself will not be adequate to ensure better participation of many parts.
Yeah, that makes me want to ask you, how then can we prevent volatility of the naira and all of this instability we see when it comes to foreign exchange? What really is the silver bullet?
For the short run, I think the CBN is doing a fantastic job. So we have seen what has happened since that peak of 1,900. Dollar actually sold for 1,900. But at yesterday, I think it was 1,200 and something. So about 700 naira has disappeared from that exchange rate that we used to have. So as those measures by the CBN are sustained, and with complementary effort from the fiscal side of things comes into play, we will begin to see a more stable currency that we can plan with. It is when we have exchange rate stability, like I said, that most of those benefits can be brought to bear in this economy. So on the monetary policy side of things, I think things are proceeding in the right direction, but it would definitely require a support from the fiscal side of things to ensure that the gains we're having now will be sustainable, and that is what people want to see. That is what business people can plan with. So we're moving in the right direction. We just need more effort, especially on the fiscal side of it.
Well, thank you so much for your insight on the news. Gbolahan Olojede, a development economist, thank you once again. Nigeria's President Adebola has tasked members of the 6th legislature of the ECOWAS Parliament to unite and face the challenges affecting ECOWAS community headlong. And this was during the inauguration of the 6th legislature of the ECOWAS Parliament in Abuja, where he urged the regional lawmakers to ensure they contribute their quota to the growth and development of the ECOWAS community. Amadine Uyi reports.
It was the inauguration of the 6th legislature of the ECOWAS Parliament. In attendance were new regional lawmakers, comprising the old returning members of the Parliament, representatives from the ECOWAS Commission, senior members of both Nigeria's executive and legislative arms of government, amongst others.
The ECOWAS Parliament, since its formation, has contributed efficiently and effectively to the implementation of the objectives of the community in its unending quest to strengthen representative democracy across the region. Today's transition, therefore, provides fresh opportunity to renew that commitment and contribute further to a more prosperous future for the people of West Africa.
This is a very significant moment for our organization as we witness the transition of leadership and the commencement of a new chapter in our journey towards regional integration.
As we gather here, we are reminded of the noble ideas upon which this esteemed institution was founded to promote peace, stability, and socio-economic development across the diverse and vibrant West African sub-region.
The president of the ECOWAS Commission reminded the regional lawmakers of the challenges facing the community as part of his message to the Parliament.
As we gather today, our region is faced with threats to peace and security, as well as poverty. As you all know, and as if that is not enough, our region is now faced with the risks of disintegration.
Also, President Bola Tinubu, who was a special guest of honor at the occasion, urged parliamentarians to unite and face the challenges facing the ECOWAS community headlong. He challenged them to live up to the expectations of residents of the community.
As we inaugurate the 6th legislature, it is evident that we face profound challenges in our region that demand our unified effort. At this critical junction, regional solidarity is imperative to strengthening our resiliency and effectiveness as a bloc, particularly against forces that aim to divide us. We must not allow this. We cannot afford to remain passive and ordinary spectators while our community faces the threat of disintegration.
The 6th legislature is expected to serve a term of 4 years. President Tinubu also tasked the members to surpass the achievements of the outgoing 5th legislature. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
The Lagos State government had on March 30th announced the planned reopening of the 3rd mainland bridge for today, April 4th, 2024, after extensive repair works. News Central's Bettina Unweli observed the reopening in this report.
After weeks of unending stress and extra hours of commuting from the mainland to the island and vice versa, the 3rd mainland bridge has finally been opened, and Lagosians are excited.
We were waiting for days like this that they would open, because this thing makes us, when we are not supposed to leave home, we leave home. So we are so happy to see it.
For a very long time now, we have been having challenge with movement especially from the island to the mainland. But I think with the new development, I think the transportation stress will reduce to a large extent.
Speaking to journalists on behalf of the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, Olukayode Egbetokun, Controller of Works, Lagos State, said the successful completion of the first phase of the rehabilitation works is a clear indication that President Bola Tinubu is working.
I would like to warmly thank the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for his commitment to the provision of infrastructure developments of Nigeria.
It's partially shut down in January, and we promised the federal government, of course, through the Federal Ministry of Works, did a fantastic job, and they gave a timeline of 5 months. I must say that they've done a fantastic job, and in less than 5 months, the bridge has been completed.
The Controller of Works, Olukayode Egbetokun, also revealed that work has already begun on the underwater damage to the bridge, which is the second phase of the rehabilitation works on the bridge. She equally revealed plans to commence work on the Kata Bridge, which she says is scheduled to start as the contractor handling the project has already been mobilized.
I want to tell you that the job is about 95% completed, not 100%, but other works that are remaining to be done can be ongoing while traffic move on the bridge. What we have outstanding now is just provision of solar lights, and the contractor is actually working. One bound is almost completed, the median is almost completed, then we'll now move to the ramps, and then we have the CCTV and the guardrails.
The Lagos State Traffic Management Authority has warned motorists to observe speed limits when traveling along the extensive section of the newly repaired Third Mainland Bridge. Motorists are urged to observe all traffic signs and installed technological equipment connected to traffic. In Lagos, for News Central, Bettina Nwili.
Thank you for staying tuned. Sierra Leone's President, Julius Maada has declared drug abuse a national emergency in the country. In a solemn address to the nation on Thursday, President Bio emphasized the severity of the drug abuse crisis, particularly the widespread use of synthetic drug known as kush, which has been increasingly popular among young people in Sierra Leone. President Bio outlined a comprehensive plan to tackle the drug abuse epidemic, including the formation of a task force comprising government agencies and NGOs. Furthermore, he assured the nation that his government is actively working to dismantle drug trafficking networks operating within Sierra Leone's borders. Niger's junta leader, General Abdurrahman Giani, has dissolved all local council in a move that tightens military control over the country. Giani, who seized power in a coup last July, issued an order on Thursday for dissolution of all municipal and regional council last elected in 2020. According to state media, his decree did not provide an explanation for the solution, leaving many questioning the motives behind the decision. In a follow-up decree broadcasted by state radio, military, police, and public officials were appointed to take charge of local authorities, signaling a significant restructuring of power dynamics. Notably, Omaro Dogari, the mayor of Niger's capital, Niamey, has been placed or replaced by an army colonel, further solidifying the military's control over key administrative positions. Tensions have reached a boiling point between Togo's President Faure Gnassingbe's government and the opposition following Parliament's contentious approval of a constitutional reform believed to be aimed at prolonging Gnassingbe's grip on power. In response, 4 opposition parties and a civil society group issued a joint statement denouncing what they perceive as an attempt by the regime to orchestrate a constitutional coup. The dispute over the reform has sparked widespread debate over President Gnassingbe's prolonged rule, which began in 2005 following his secession of his father, who governed 3 decades after a military coup. Opposition leaders are demanding the withdrawal of the reform, which could grant the National Assembly the power to elect the president directly, fearing it could entrench Gnassingbe's hold on power. Still ahead, White House says U.S. support for Israel's defense is ironclad. We have details after the break. Stay with us. The White House says the United States support for Israel's defense remains ironclad despite President Joe Biden's warning that Washington's policies on Gaza war depends on protecting civilians. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby made the statement while addressing the media. Biden's frustration with Netanyahu's escalated after an Israeli strike hit a World Central Kitchen aid convoy this week, killing 7 aid workers, including an American citizen.
Remains ironclad. They face a range of threats, and the United States isn't going to walk away from helping Israel defend itself. That said, you can say all that, and you can act on that, and you can believe that, and the president does, and still believe that the manner in which they're defending themselves against the Hamas threat needs to change. I'm not going to preview any potential policy decisions coming forward. What we want to see are some real changes on the Israeli side. You know, if we don't see changes from their side, there'll have to be changes from our side. But I won't preview what that could look like. Now, we want to see that even as the Israelis work through their investigation, that they are willing and able to take practical, immediate steps to protect aid workers on the ground and to demonstrate that they have that civilian harm mitigation in place.
U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has raised American concerns about the impact of China's industrial overcapacity on the global market as she meets with the governor of the southern Chinese city of Guangdong, Wan Weizhong. Yellen will hold 2 days of meetings with her Chinese counterpart, Li Fang, the country's economic czar, before traveling to Beijing for talks with other high-level officials. Beijing and Washington have clashed over flashpoint issues ranging from technology and trade to human rights, as well as self-ruled island of Taiwan and the South China Sea. And for business stories, let's connect with the business desk.
The money laundering case against Binance Crypto in the Federal High Court in Abuja has been adjourned until April 8. The case, filed by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, will now be heard on the new date. Additionally, the tax evasion case against Binance and its 2 executives who were arrested in Nigeria over alleged tax evasion has also been adjourned until April 19. The adjournment was made due to the Federal Inland Revenue Service's failure to serve the second defendant, Binance, before arraignment. Ghana's Cocoa Marketing Board, Cocoa Board, is planning to raise the price paid to cocoa farmers by 50% to share in the extra profit from the global price surge. The announcement comes as cocoa prices have more than tripled in the past year due to adverse weather and disease affecting cocoa output, leading to a 3rd consecutive global deficit. Previously, the official price for cocoa growers in Ghana did not reflect the current market surge. Ivory Coast has also increased its cocoa price for the upcoming season. The price hike in Ghana is seen as a response to prevent smuggling, a major challenge faced by the sector. However, it may impact the cost of operations for licensed cocoa buyers. And finally, the Lagos State government has appointed Money Master Payment Service Bank as a collection and payment partner for the Onje-Eko discount market. The Onje-Eko initiative aims to provide food items at reduced prices to residents of Lagos State, given the increasing food costs in the country. Money Master PSB will be responsible for collecting payments in the 57 local government areas and local council development areas of the state. The bank will deploy its advanced payment solution to ensure seamless payment and reconciliation processes, enhancing the experience of Lagosians who patronize the markets. This appointment is a testament to the quality of payment solutions provided by Money Master, which has been licensed by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, as a payment service bank to promote financial inclusion.
Now to sports stories. South Africa coach Desiree Ellis is keen to get a positive result when her side faced Nigeria in what she tagged as a tough battle and the final round qualifiers for the women's football tournament at Paris 2024 Olympic Games. 9-time African champions Super Falcons will host the reigning continental champions in Abuja on Friday, with a return leg in Pretoria 4 days later. South Africa beat Super Falcons en route to winning the Women's Africa Cup of Nations title in 2022. And now the countries meet again for a ticket to Paris, and LS is expecting a tough battle, but targets a positive result in Abuja.
And dotting the I's, and the game's tomorrow, so we're ready for the game. And we know it's going to be a tough match. Any game is a tough match, and you cannot underestimate anyone. Doesn't matter who you play against, because you underestimate the team at your own peril. And Nigeria are so many times African champions, you know, been there, done well at the World Cup. So you cannot take that for granted, and you've got to respect that. Whatever has happened in the past where we've come and played and won, that's history. That doesn't dictate what's going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow's a completely new game. Tomorrow's a game is who wants it the most. You made a statement that they went in 2008 and would really love to go. Same with us. We didn't go 2020 and we would really love to go. You know, so it's going to be a game where we have to be on top of our game. We're going to have to bring our A game. We have to score the chances that we create, because we're a team that creates chances. You know, we just got to make sure that we don't concede. So it's going to be that type of game where I think it's going to be very, very tight, and the winner over 2 legs is going to have a tight result as well. But we obviously have come to.
And that's all on the news at this hour. But before we go, let's take a look again at some of the major stories. President Tinubu urges 6th ECOWAS legislature to address sub-regional challenges. Electricity tariff goes up 300% as Nigeria Senate pledges to help citizens cope. We also told you that Togo opposition calls for a 3-day protest over election delay. Send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen and follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch us live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Adebola Adedugba.